Okay, good morning. So last session we learned about how do we work with hyperlinks and so many questions related to hyperlinks we discussed. Several important frequently asked questions related to hyperlinks. Like we learned about how to open link target in new tab. We learned about how to open link target in a new window. So embed in a same window, same page. For that we have used what? Iframe. For new tab, what we have used? For that we have used target is equal to underscore blank. And for window, we have used JavaScript. JavaScript have a window dot open method. And for embedding, we are using iframe, right? And we learned how we can download link target always. How to download the link target always, we learned about that. For that, we have to use the download attribute. How do we work with download attribute? So these are all related to links. And we learned how to link for mail, how to link for telephones, how to link for Skype. All these things we learned. So that is all about links, intra-document and inter-document links. Now we will create one sample page, one sample application page by using these options, so that one idea we will get how to handle them, how do we work with them, and how do we handle them. So let's put here, yeah. Okay. So generally how we can manage the links, one simple example we will see. We will go to our project location here. In this project location, in the public folder, I am adding a new folder. In the public folder, I am adding a new folder. So the new folder, I said some shopping site. That's the new folder we are creating, shopping site. Now in this shopping site, we are adding some pages. So let's add some pages. In that folder, we are adding some pages. We have index.html, and we have home.html, and we have some electronics.html, and footwear.html, and some fashion.html. Like this we are designing. Now there are so many pages in our website. I maintained these in a separate folder, and we will design these pages separately. We will create those pages separately. So let's go to home HTML, and what is the basic architecture we want to achieve is, whenever anybody opens our website, it opens a page called index. It opens a index.html page. In that page, we will keep a left side a navigation bar here. We will put a navigation bar like home, like electronics, so like footwear and fashion. This is that defined there. We can have some header, footers, and this is in the section area we are keeping there. So that means we will create one small header that is the header area, and we are keeping some footer area. And in this we have the section area, and in the section area we have this navigation bar. So this is the navigation area, and we have separate pages. So we have home.html page, electronics.html page, footwear.html, and fashion.html. These are the pages. Now what happens here is they are separate pages. Now in the right panel, here we will put an iframe. In the right panel, we will put an iframe. Now what happens is when user clicks on home in the left, that home page will open in this location. So we have to bring an existing page and we need to display in this location. Similarly, when user selects electronics, that electronics page will come. That page content will display here. This is the basic approach we want to design. And if when user is not requesting anything, by default home page should come. By default the home page should display. If user is not requesting anything, by default home page should come. By default we want to display the home page. That is the basic design we want to achieve. Let's create this. Initially, how we can handle this, how we can create this. Let's see. So we need to design this. For that, whatever pages are required, already we designed those pages. Already we added those pages here. Now in those pages, we will put some reasonable content. Finally, everything should be in which page? Index.html. We will design home page. I will create here a heading. Remember, I am not designing complete HTML document. Why I am not designing complete HTML document? Because the intention of this document is to embed in another document. When the intention of this document is to embed in another document, that document already have doc type HTML and all. We want only a portion of UI to embed into it. Only a portion of UI to embed into it. In that case, only a portion of UI to embed into it. In that case, generally, if you design, means I am saying in technical terms, we call view and we call partial view. In technical terms, view and partial view. So in the view concept, what happens is in the view, it is a complete HTML document. Complete HTML document. View means a complete HTML document. Partial view is nothing but a container. Partial view is a container. Partial view is a container which can embed into another document. So that means depending on the requirement, if you want to watch that page separate, then design it as a view. If you want the page to be used inside another page, then design as a partial view. And when you are designing as partial view, because in general project development, your seniors or your team leads will tell you as a fresher when you are working, they say that you don't need to design a view for this, you design a partial view for this. That means that he is saying you that you don't need to design a complete HTML document. You need to just design only the UI that fits in a document. In that case, what we have to do now, the home, here I will just keep a div, a container I am creating. And in this, I will keep a heading and I will say some shopping home. Shopping home. And here I will define some special offers So on electronics, something like this. Some 65% of some paragraph I kept there. That is only the point. Okay, this is home page. Now let's go to electronics HTML. In this electronics HTML, another container I am creating, and here I will keep a heading like electronics home. And here I will keep some images, some information related to electronics. It is in assets. So some speaker.jpg like this. Some width is 100 and height also 100. So similar to this, I am adding one more image here. Some we have an option like some earpods.jpg. So in the assets folder, we will copy those images and see there. So that means in the documents, so in C drive, I have some images related to them. I will copy and I will keep that. Okay, I'm adding that and displaying some more. Yeah, some pictures I'm copying there related to this, and here I defined them. Okay, this is electronics home. Similarly, I will create another for fashion home. I will design for fashion home. And here I added some shirt and added some jeans, something. Okay, now another is footwear. And here this is footwear home, some content. And here we are adding images like shoe and shoe one. These are the images. And all the pages are ready now. Now we need to create the final layout that we will do in the index page. In the index page, now we are creating doc type HTML head and title as shopping online. And in the body section, so we are defining here, we will link bootstrap icons. Link relation is equal to style sheet href from / node modules bootstrap icons font bootstrap icons .css. And in the body section, I kept a header, and here I will just put a heading, some Amazon shopping, and some option like span and a class. So here I defined cart 4, bi cart 4. Just I defined some shopping online, something website here. Okay. Now below this, we have a section area. In this section, I'm creating 2 containers. This is one container, or you already know we can design in this way. One is navigation, that is the navigation bar. Another one is the main content. We are creating 2 sections, 2 divisions in the section area. In the navigation bar, we will create an unordered list with ordered list or unordered list. Yeah, unordered list with the list item initially I given as home, another list item electronics, so another list item so footwear, and another list item fashion. And right side in the main section, we will add a iframe. Iframe width and height you can give in styles. Iframe needs a name. I'm giving the name as frame body. You can give any name for that frame body I am defining. Now I will save this here and it is done. Now what we can do at the bottom, we can add a footer. So in the footer, I just kept a div ampersand copy. It will put a copyright symbol, some 2021. Just roughly I created this. Now let's see the index page design. So this is the index page design, and we can add some effects into that index page. So that is the index page design we are creating here. So in this, some styles we need to configure. This is the basic design. Now we need to achieve the design and functionality for this. So let's go to the styles. And here I am writing at the top style. In the style, I am defining here one effect option here configured, like one is for header. Header, some background color, some color I defined some chocolate. So that is the color. And here we said color as white and the text align as center. That is the header color we have defined. And I will give padding as some 5 pixel. So the space around that content will come. Now that is at the top. Now at the footer also I am giving background color as chocolate and color as white and the text align as center. So the footer is also having the alignment. Now we need to have some space between header and footer. To keep space between header and footer, we have a section. Section height is some 400 pixels. And you can see section height increases. Section is between header and footer, its size is increased. Now section should be divided into 2 columns. Section should be divided into 2 columns. In that we have one navigation bar, another one we have main. So then we have to display as grid, and grid template columns. So 3 fractions and 9 fractions of width and height. So that means it divides into those columns. I want section to come a little bit down because it is attached to header. Then I will give margin top 10 pixel. It shift your section little down. Now I want the frame to fit that main area. Then what we have to do, frame. For frame, width is equal to 100% and height is equal to 400 pixel equal to section. How much section height is there? And that fits into that. So that is iframe, not frame, iframe. Now for iframe, it will keep it. And I don't want, so I will keep here some 375 pixel because we shifted 10 pixels down that. Okay. Now I don't want the frame to appear like a frame. Then what we have to do? Border we have to set it to none. It is set to none. That's fine. Now for unordered list that we are having, for unordered list, list style we set to none. That means it will remove that unordered list. And for unordered list, I can keep margin left. Actually, unordered list by default have some margin. By default, it is having margin. To push it back, we have to give negative value, minus 20 pixel. So that means it will shift a little back. So I say minus 30 pixel, then it will push little left. So that means actually by default, it is having some margin. By default, it is having some margin. So in such cases, some elements by default have margin. If they have by default margin, if you give 0 also, they will appear there only. Then push back by using a negative value. You have to give the negative values. Okay, now next step, for list item. For list item, I given font size as some 20 pixels. And for list item, I defined background color same, and color as white. And we will define here padding as 5 pixel, and we will keep width as 200 pixel, and we have border as 2 pixel solid, and we will keep border radius as 10 pixel. And every list item margin bottom will have 20 pixel. Now you can see they appear in this way. We have home, electronics, footwear, fashion. All these are looking like buttons. We given a button like irons per them. Now you can add some relative images. You can put some relative images for those, and you can configure. But very important is their color will change now when we change these to hyperlinks now. That means by default, you see the initial screen is empty. You cannot have initial screen empty. By default, whenever website opens, I want home page to come in the iframe. That means currently iframe is empty. iframe is empty. If you want to put any page by default inside it, you can keep src. src by default, I want home.html. That means by default it brings that, and it will display that page. That means whenever our website opens in the index page, it will not be empty. By default, it will bring the home content, and it will display the home content there. So here, while working with iframes, one small point is iframe can use a default source by using src attribute. Yesterday already we learned iframe. iframe can use default source by using src attribute. So syntactically, you need to configure in this way. iframe source is equal to some home.html, or actually you can use iframe source is equal to some http:// some site.com. Some website URL also you can define. So iframe needs an end tag. iframe. Now you can add this by default, and you that will change automatically when another source comes. Through hyperlinks, you can keep another source, then it will change automatically. Okay. Now see here. So when we have to define home should be a link. So what is the link href? Link href is home.html. What should be the link target? Link target is frame body. Frame body is iframe name. The same I have to define. Anchor electronics. Href is equal to electronics.html, and the target is equal to frame body. And footwear, all these links, we need to little bit do some modification for these links also. In styles, href is footwear.html, and the target is frame body. And similarly, we are giving fashion, and href is equal to fashion, and the target is equal to frame body. And the appearance will be in this way. And what we have to define Here we have to define fashion. Yeah, and we need to change the color for those links, and you already learned visited link, active links, or normal links, all can be applied through just A. So color, I will keep it to white. And the text decoration, we will set it to none. That is removing underline for hyperlinks. Already we learned that. That will come. You can add icons. You can go to Bootstrap icons and search for icons and keep them. For example, for home, I am giving here. So this is home. So just beside that home text, I am using a span class BI and BI house fill. Then it will get that home icon. Similarly, you can go to Bootstrap icons. I showed you how to search the icons related to electronics, related to footwear, related to fashion, any icons available, get the class name and use it. Now this is working fine. Now when I click on electronics, then it gets the electronics page and display. When I click on footwear, it will get the footwear and display. And say fashion, it will get the fashion and display. And home, then it will get the home and display. That means now user will stay on index page and he can get access to everything onto this page. This is how we can achieve by using iframe. But if you ask, like in reality, in real time websites, projects like this we design, the answer is no. This is just for you to practice iframes. In real world development process, we don't use iframes for such embedding contents. This we achieve by using a concept called AJAX. For that, actually, you have to learn JavaScript jQuery. By using AJAX, we call a file and we render the file into the page. We don't use iframes for such reasons. We use iframes for embedding videos, for embedding PowerPoint presentations, or embedding complex documents. But for HTML pages, we don't prefer much. That means using iframes will be a burden for the page. That means it makes the page heavy. Iframes makes the page heavy. And that is the reason in future, when you are learning JavaScript and jQuery, you will learn how to achieve the same. So without iframe. That means you will not put a iframe, you will put a ordinary div there. Inside the div, the new content will come. Inside the div, new content will come. You will not put any iframe. Only a div will be there. In the div, you can render the content and display the content. For that, you need to use a concept called AJAX. So that is now out of the range of current concept. So still you are in HTML. You need to learn so much for achieving that functionality. So later when you learn about jQuery, Bootstrap and all, you will able to achieve that. As of now, you can try this. And you can put all the options that we discussed yesterday. Like you can link a video, you can link any presentations, you can configure anything here. Yesterday I showed you how to link a video. So that means, so we can go to the YouTube, you can copy the URL, change the view URL to embed and link target. Not only link, actually iframe can display even presentations. For example, I hope many of you people know SlideShare. Many of you people are aware of SlideShare. SlideShare is one of the world's largest repository of PowerPoint presentations. You will find PowerPoint presentations for various topics developed by various people and globally shared to others. Suppose here I am searching for a presentation called some HTML, and related to HTML, so many PowerPoint presentations came. Now I will open any PowerPoint presentation related to this. Now you see when I open this, it opens that presentation on screen. It is a slideshow in the browser itself. That means you can see, click on next slide. It will be showing this. Suppose you want to use this. You want to use this you want to use this in your page, then what you have to do is, generally you see there is a share button. The share button will be there. You know the share button, right? So the share button is present. I click on the share button, and you can see they given embed, and observe carefully, the embed code is given in an iframe. They given that embed frame in an iframe. That means if you want this PowerPoint presentation to put in your page, so then directly you can copy that iframe code and paste it. Or you don't need to do that. Actually, you can copy this URL. You can copy this URL and put as iframe source. But if you can copy this entire URL, that means copy that entire URL. So copy that entire URL, and you come back to your page. You come back to your page. Suppose here, what I am doing is, here I am creating another link, or simply I will put the iframe here in the home page. Let's go to home page. In the home page, just below this, I will put that iframe code. Means whatever the code we copied, I kept there. And you can see that now the home page contains that iframe design. That means that PowerPoint presentation comes here. It is embedded into your website. It is embedded into your website, and you can watch directly here. You can watch directly here. This is the concept of working with and dealing with the frames. So this is a small example to make you understand how to design and how do we work with links and iframes. You have seen intra-document navigation, and you have seen inter-document navigation. In inter-document navigation, keep the user stay on one page and bring everything onto that page and show him. And that you can achieve by using iframes. By using iframe we can do. Actually, in older version of HTML, we used to have a concept called frame. Actually, you see this presentation is also showing you. This presentation is showing you a concept called frames. It is saying frames. You see, this presentation is showing you some concept called frames. Where is it? Yeah, first itself it is having. It's showing these frames. These type of frames are gone now. We are not using these type of frames anymore. That's the reason it's useless and time waste to even discuss about it. Why? Because these are not supported in recent browsers. Earlier you used to use a concept called frame. Now we are using a concept called iframes. And you see this example also, you see they are using a browser called Netscape. Netscape is the world's first browser. That means first browser is Mosaic, after Mosaic, Netscape. They are showing example on Netscape, means it is almost 30 years back example. It is almost 30 years back example. So you don't need to follow all these now, because these days modern browsers changed very much. They don't support all these old things. That's the reason we don't prefer them. We don't prefer and use it. So technically, what we have to understand, how to bring the content of another page and embed into the page. For that, what option we are using? Iframes. I will show you a small overview on how earlier people have to do frames. Just idea. You don't need to practice it. Just idea, because very rarely in old websites, if you go to a company, in that company some old websites are still under maintenance, then they might be using still frames. Then you should have an idea how to handle the frames. I will just give you an overview of that. You can see. So we will see how the same type of concept can be achieved by using frames in HTML. By using frames in HTML. So what is the purpose of frame? Actually, frame splits the window into horizontal and vertical pans. Frame splits the window into horizontal and vertical pans. So every frame can display a document embedded into window. So it is not embedding, it is not embedded into page, it is embedded into browser window. That is the reason these days modern browsers don't support it, because they split the window, and window splitting is not supported because these days people use our websites on mobile tab like devices. The browsers don't support splitting window cannot be divided, right? That is the problem. That's the reason these are not much used anymore. And you can create, that means how to create syntactically, how to design. We have to create frame set. In the frame set, we will have rows or we will have calls equal to, we need to give percentage. So 15%, some 70%, and some 15%, like that. We have to share like columns and rows. How much percent every frame you want. In this frame set, we have to define a frame actually. We have to define a frame. And every frame, that means here we decided to have 3 frames. Then there should be 3 frames with source. So another frame with the source and another frame with source. That means you divided into 3 frames. You have to keep 3 frames there. One frame 15, another frame 70, another frame is 15% of the browser window. And very important, so when you are designing frame set, HTML page cannot have body section. HTML page cannot have body section. That means the body tag cannot be there. So frame set is defined after head section. After head section, there will not be body section at all. Frame set is defined after head section. Frame set is defined after head section. There will not be any body section. There will not be any body section. So if you give body section, the frame set will not work. So a page is designed without body section. So that is generally how we need to use this frame set. And this is a very old technique, and new version browsers don't support this. Especially smart device related browsers never support that. Like mobile browsers and all, they don't support. So better not to use it. But still, you may come across with that, because as UI developers, when you go to companies, sometimes you will be assigned in a project which is 20 years old client, 15 years old client. Still they may be working with old versions of softwares. It's not like every new version is immediately used. Companies will be still using old versions only. That is the reason you should know these options, how to handle. I will show you now. Let's create one page now. Let's close this and let's add a page here. And I'm adding a page in shopping site. I'm adding a new file. So frames demo.html. You see now in this here, I'm creating HTML head and title is frames. Now we don't have body. we cannot have a body section. We have to directly use frame set. Frame set we have to directly use. There will be no body section. What will happen if there is body section? I will show you. Now frame set, we have to decide horizontal or vertical. If you want horizontal frames, then you have to give rows. If you want vertical, then you have to give columns. So you can have nested frames also, but here just I am giving rows. And 15% first one, and 70% second one, and 15% last one. You can have any number of rows. You can divide among 100. How much percent of you want? 5 rows, 10 rows, 20 rows, you can have anything. And here in that frame, now frame, this is first frame source is empty. Similarly, we need 3 frames because we decided to have 3. And now you can see that, you can see here, this looks like this. That means the frame set will display like this. That is frame. Now page is divided into 3 frames. Actually not page, window is divided. It is splitting the window. Complete window is divided, not page. Window is divided into 3 frames now. You see these 3 frames are adjustable. And you can lock them, no problem. You can lock them. So no resize. No resize indicates it will not allow to resize the frame. Then I cannot move them. They are fixed now. They are fixed with the size. They cannot be moved. And very important, if I keep this frame set, if I keep the frame set in body section, if I keep in body section, then the frames cannot be there. You cannot have the frames. So there cannot be body section. There cannot be body section. Directly frame set is defined. Without the body section, directly frame set is defined. And suppose you want in columns, just you have to change this to calls. Then you can see vertical frames will come. You can have combination of horizontal frames, vertical frames, frames inside frames also you can have. So, but all that is time waste now. Discussing about that and understanding that is not required. So here, how to keep any file that is same. Suppose I said rows. Suppose middle frame, I want home.html. Same like iframe only. So middle frame home.html, and you can see it can display it. The middle frame can display it. Now you can put navigation at the top, footer at the bottom. But remember, you cannot directly put any content in the frame. For example, in this top frame, I am writing Amazon shopping. I am writing some Amazon shopping. You can see that it is not going to display anything. It is not going to display anything. In a frame, you cannot directly put any content. You have to design a separate page. That page you have to attach. That means for header one page, for footer one page, for navigation another page, you have to design everything separate pages. That means you cannot directly put any content like this, any content like this. Then what we have to do, I will show you here. I will add another file, and I will give the name as navbar.html. Here I am designing a div, and here I am creating an anchor. href is equal to home.html. Here I defined home. I will put a span, and I will put another href is equal to electronics.html, electronics, something like this. Now see here, what we need to do is, I want to display that in the top frame. Then this navbar, we have to keep in the top frame source as navbar.html. Now that navbar will go onto the top frame. Now when I click on electronics, that electronics page should come in the second frame. Then the second frame should have a name. The name of this second frame is what? Frame body. frame body, and again go to navigation bar. In the navigation bar, this target, we have to get target is what? Frame body. And home, this also target is frame body. This is very complicated. Earlier you have designed everything in one page. Now you need to design several pages. Navigation bar separate, header separate, footer separate. And you can see now, however, it works functionality same. Electronics HTML, home.html, it works same. But splitting window into frames is a bad idea now. So earlier it's fine. So that means in old technologies that is fine. But now it is not good. Not good, not suggested, and never to use it. Just know about this, how to handle that. That is one simple concept. That means here one more option is frames can be nested with rows and columns, and frame cannot display any content directly. It requires a HTML page or URL source. It requires a HTML page or URL source. You cannot display any content directly. That means you have to write like this: frame name is equal to frame body, and the frame src is equal to some home.html. That's how we need to configure. These two examples I will upload into Classroom. You can try them. So those two examples, what we designed today, I will upload. You can try them. So, but majority concentrate and work on only this. That fellow, yes. You have any issue? Generally, we are very right. So this is how we can deal with the frames, how we can work and handle with the frames and iframes. Now for your practice, I will upload these two things. Now some more tricks we will learn here, so that with those tricks and what topic you learned, you can build a good page website. For that we will see one small concept, because some more you have to learn. Tables and forms we have to learn, then we can build more correct options. Before that, so we will see some important tricks, how we can manage them, so that we can build a correct web page like appearance. Let's see. So our target is we will try to build this Netflix homepage. Our target is we will build this Netflix homepage. Homepage contains lot of buttons, combinations and all. Buttons you will learn later. Forms you will learn later. But this we need to achieve. This you need to achieve. And in this, some important tricks you need to know. That means how to handle them, how do we configure them, because it's not just only HTML, little bit JavaScript, jQuery will be there, because when I click on this plus, it should expand. That you cannot learn in HTML, that you will learn in jQuery, Bootstrap like options. But design we have to achieve like this. We need to achieve the design like this. That is the important one. So to achieve design like this, few important points you need to know is how to keep any content correctly center to page. This is an important one. That means center your content, center your content on page horizontally and vertically. Center your content on page horizontally and vertically. That is very important because many websites keep exact center. So how to center your content on page horizontally and vertically? So that is the key point here. For that, we have to apply some styles. See how to achieve this. For example, see this people, unlimited movies, TV shows, watch anytime, anywhere, cancel. These options are there. These are heading. This is heading. This is normal paragraph. Options are available, but they are center on page. First, we will look at that point. So let's create a simple page. In the public folder, I'm adding first Netflix. So Netflix.html. Now, initially, I'm designing the content here. Doc type HTML head. So title some Netflix. Okay. As of now, I will not go much. Later, I will show you the rest of the design. First, center is the main concept. I will keep here style and body. I'm giving some background color, initially black. Later, I will show you how to keep the pictures. We will discuss about that. As of now, black, and here we have a div. And this div have a class called container. In this container, so we are keeping another div. This hierarchy is important. That means if you want to keep any content correctly center on page, first in the page you should have a container. In the page you should have a container that occupies entire page. In that container, suppose I want to put this shape in center. If I want to put that shape in center, shape and some title is there. Some title is there. That means now you have two contents in the page which you want center. Then make sure that these two are in another container. If they are independent, then center alignment will not work. Right? You have to make sure that those two contents are inside another container. So here I will put a heading. So div, in that we will put a heading. And what is the first heading they given? Unlimited movies, TV shows and more. Under that, so they have another one, watch anywhere, cancel anytime. That is nothing but a paragraph. But these two are independent in container, then alignment will not work. We have to make sure that these two are inside a div. So what we will do now to keep the content correctly in the center? First point, so body I defined like this, and color I will keep it as white. That means everything inside the body will be white color. Let's run this and see. Initially, it looks in this way. I need to keep it correctly center of page. Center of page. Then the container, we have to use the container. We have to keep display as flex. Display as flex, flexible display. After that, you have to keep justify content. Justify content to center. Justify content to center will keep horizontal alignment center. Vertical alignment center, we have to use align items center. Align item center will keep vertical alignment center. Justify content center, horizontal alignment. This vertical alignment. But for vertical alignment, this container should have good height. If container is not having height, it will close at heading. Where heading ends, container ends there. But we need a good height for container. So what we have to do, one more extra work. we have to put height for container. How much height you want? So some 400 pixel. Now you can see that the content inside it will keep in the center. Now very important is that content should be center again. That means you have this box, this is div which contains your content. I will put a class here. What is it? Suppose I said main content. Main content is the class. I will say main hyphen content. Okay. Now for main content, what I am doing here, that is a box dot main content. For main content, I am defining text align as center. Text align as center. It will keep like this. I want to adjust the width for this. That means width as 300 pixel, 300 pixel, then it will keep like this. So I said the width as 400 pixel, then it will keep in this way. How much width you want, you can adjust. Now it keeps the content center. Remember, vertical center depends on height. If you don't give this height for the container, if you don't give the height for the container, then it will keep at the top. If you give the height for the container, now it will shift it. Now you give 500 height, then according to that it will fit it. So shifting vertically center depends on height. You have to configure the height. Rest of options, you know. For example, for paragraph, I am giving font size as some 24 pixels. Then it will keep the paragraph in that way. So I given the body, wherever body is present, body font family as Arial. That means all the font family will be Arial like this. So generally this is very commonly seen in every websites, majority. In this background, they will put some pictures. In the foreground, they will have some title and all. Currently, our background is black. Now we will learn one more technique, how to put a background picture and how we can keep it not dominated. That means it will not dominate and it will just be in the background with less dominance, so that text will appear more. That's what actually Netflix is doing. They are doing, they have the more font size. That means the font size and everything you can increase more depending on your requirement. So here the point is how we can put the background picture now, how we can define the background picture and how we can handle the background picture. For that, another point is there. First up, for this, what we have to do, center your content on page horizontally and vertically. What are the options you have to define? So create a container parent and create a container child. Set keep your content in child container. That means like this. This is class parent and this is class child, and here your content. Div. Now what we have to do is set following effects to parent. So we have to keep display as flex, justify content center, align items center, and height we will keep as some 400 pixels. These examples are in classroom notes. You don't need to take photos. You have to join lot of photos for entire program finally. Right, this is the parent. These are mandatory. If you don't define display flex or justify content align items, then content cannot center. And vertically, it is mandatory that you define height. So without height, you cannot get vertical alignment, right? So this is one option how you can keep it center. Now, the another concept is, another trick we will learn here is background image for body section. Background image for body section. Here, one important point you need to see. But for that, what we have to do is some lot of complications. Directly, any effect is not available. We have opacity. There is an option called opacity, transparency. But the transparency will make everything transparent in the body section. If you apply, letters will be transparent, image will be transparent, then we need to keep in this way. See what is the trick we have to do for that. What I will do now is in the assets folder. So already there is a Netflix background. This is Netflix background. So you can copy from Google. So now I want to keep this in the background. So body background, I'm not using a color now. Body background, I'm using background image URL. Background image URL. Actually, I showed you that you can apply by using body tag. In the body tag, you can use background. That's what I showed you. But now see, because we have a lot of complications in that. For body, we have to use background image. URL indicates the path. Path is in assets Netflix back.jpg. Now you can see the background image will be here like this. The background image will be like this. And of course, color I will keep as white, and it will be in this way. But background image size and background image appearance should not dominate. Actually, for background image, after keeping background image is kept with URL. We have to write another option, background size. How much you want. Actually, background size width and height. Suppose I given 100% width and 100% height. Then you can see that it will be like this now. The width and height will be like this. So that means it fits with small. So 100% width and height. You can adjust according to your requirement. You can give in pixels also. But see, the background image is repeating. If you observe, the background image is repeating. Repeating means you can see. So the background image, yeah. You see, this is repeating. here it is finished actually. After it is finished here, again it is repeating below, right? Below it is repeating. One more came. Tiles, it is coming. So then what we do is, to handle this kind of situation, we will do one more work here. What we do is background repeat. Background repeat, no repeat. We say background repeat, no repeat. Then you can see that the background image will not repeat. If background image is not repeating, the height will be according to the section height you given. That means the container height, how much we given? 500. So I will give it as 600. Now you can see it will be like this. The container height will be according to container height, it will display. But very important is that background image is dominating. It is dominating. So then there is no option actually. For example, we have an option called opacity. Opacity is transparency. We can give some units like 0.5. Then general opacity is 1. If I reduce opacity, it will be transparent. Then letters also transparent. That means letters also becomes transparent, not to background image. So that means this opacity is not the concept to work with it clearly. Then what we have to do is, you see, this is the main container inside the body section. For this main container, you see the main container, this is the container. For container, I am giving background color. Background color. Background color, I said black. That means you see container background color is black. Container background color is black. But that black should be transparent black. In that case, you have to use the color like this. RGBA. Red, green, blue, RGBA, alpha. Alpha means transparency. Red value 0. Green value 0. Blue value 0. You know what will happen. Already we learned hexadecimal, right? RGB, red, green, blue, 0, 0, 0 means black color came. Now you see, after that, next point, how much transparent back color you want. 0 to 1 you can apply. I will give 0.5. 0.5. Now you can see that the transparency will come. Now that's fine. That means now what we are doing here, 0.7. That means more darkness will increase. 0.3, then more transparency will come. More transparency will come. Now that looks better. And we had done that, achieved it. So that's what it is having. So that means you cannot directly put a solid image in the background. For that, we have to use these combinations. We have to use the combination. That means you have to put body background. After that, inside the body, put a container. That container complete black. Then reduce its transparency. And for that, you have to use this RGBA. RGBA. So that is what we are using here, RGBA. Now, once you can do this, we can achieve this top part, bottom part. You can see these people are having some more effective, like outside dark black and inside it is normal. Inside it is normal. That is actually gradient colors. We call them as gradient colors. In CSS you will apply. Now learning gradient is too much. It is very risky, right? So this is enough as of now. They are using gradient. Gradient means outside dark, inside it is lighter. So that type of appearance, that is called radial gradients. We call these as radial gradients. By using radial gradients, you can focus center, and outside you can make it dark. That is actually radial gradient. For that, actually, we don't use this background color. Actually, what we do is we use background image only. We use background image only. But background image, we use radial gradient. Later you will learn about it. In the radial gradient, we have to give the red color, green color, blue color, and you need to keep the percentage of gradients. So how you want, that means suppose transparency, how you want to apply. Then when you keep that radial gradients, that type of appearance will come. You can increase center, you can increase more and center and keep it. That later you will learn, not now required, because it requires lot of attributes to learn, right? As of now, what you do, just you put a background color, and what is the color style you have to apply? RGBA. So red, green, blue value, and 0.3 is the 0.3 is the transparency. Now it will keep in this way. Now we can keep the other contents in such pages. So first, this is the trick how you can display the background. That means how to define here. These are the options we are configuring. That means how you created. So we have body section. In the body section, we have a main container. So container, class container. Now we need to apply effects, styles, how to apply. So styles, how we can define styles. For body, background color, a background image, URL, some assets, Netflix back.jpg, and background size 100%, that is width and height. Next, background repeat, no repeat. After that, for div, that is container. For container, what effect? So background color RGBA, and here we have to set 0, 0, 0 and 0.3. Height some 600 pixel. Like this we have to do. These are the effects we kept. How to keep center alignment, already I given you. Right. So these are the 3 examples we have. Now once you know this, now we can design some screens and alignments and all. We can create some web page designs. Now, in order to achieve others, so in the Netflix page, in order to achieve this, you need to learn about forms and tables and others. So now we are going to discuss another important in HTML, that is tables. Tables in HTML. How to design tables and how to design forms. Then we can create that Netflix homepage, because there are a lot of buttons, drop downs, forms will be there. We have to create that. For that, we have to learn 2 more things, tables and forms, that we will see in the next session. Tomorrow we will do that, right? These all examples I will upload into class. You can try them. So these HTML documents, so you can try. Then tomorrow we will continue with this and we will learn about tables, right?